This is a panel that we're going to talk a little bit about kind of where, obviously we've had a lot of discussions about AI this week and talking a little bit about what the impacts in the telco and networking world will be from AI, and also ways in which we're going to need to evolve our networks, evolve our telecom offerings to support the changes in behavior that we'll be seeing from AI usage and everything. So I have a great set of panelists here, and I'll let each of you introduce yourself so we can we have their names up here if you want to connect with them and find us on LinkedIn or wherever. Go ahead. Yes.
Hi, I'm Inderpreet Kaur. I'm a senior analyst with Omdia. It's a research and advisory firm, and I cover telco, cloud, and network automation as part of my research.
I'm Beth Cohen, and formerly and now again with Verizon. I have to be careful because I'm not officially, I'm consulting with Verizon now because I retired officially in December. So I'm not speaking officially as Verizon, but I actually work for Verizon, so just to confuse everybody. So I've been in the telco world for many, many years, and also the cloud world as well. And AI, and just published a white paper. I'll put a plug in for my session later on at 4:30. The Open Infra Foundation supported a white paper on edge and AI workloads. So.
Hi, I'm Shuangyang from Huawei company. I have worked for Tech Cloud at Huawei for more than 10 years, so I'm so glad to be here to join you about our discussion.
Great. Well, thank you all for joining. And I'm Jonathan Bryce, Executive Director of the Open Infra Foundation. I guess I didn't introduce myself. I think the first question that I want to start off with is what is the main force that you're seeing that's driving change in network infrastructure and telecom infrastructure? I threw out AI earlier, but is that what you're seeing? Are you seeing needs for changes in the network, changes in the components and the stacks that we're building those with, or what are you all actually seeing? We can start with Beth. Sure.
Yeah, I'll start. Okay. So I'd say yes and no. There's a lot of changes related to the rollout of 5G, and then we're preparing for 6G, and a lot of network convergence with wireline and wireless combining, and satellite and a bunch of other technologies. So there's a lot of tech refresh going on in the telecom industry right now, and AI is definitely part of that conversation as we do those tech refreshes. But on the business side, the telecoms, including Verizon, I should add, are rolling out services specifically to support AI workloads. AI workloads, currently are mostly concentrated in the data centers, but as more and more recognition that the data is actually not in the data centers, it's out at the edge, that has an impact on what's going on with how the networks are used. So that affects the network architectures.
Okay. Did you have something to?
Yes. Actually, I totally agree with the ladies. He said very good. Actually, we know that AI is the most hot topic here. I think there are two drivers. First, for technical part, as the lady says, there are lots of fresh technical involved in so much technology. I think the majority that the main job is found that some right technologies involved in our technical cloud. This is the first thing I think is very important. We should follow about the technical. And another thing is the same, the business. Business is very important. So, right, AI is also in everyone says AI a lot of things. But what the AI can give us some about the business success at our telco domain, or say network domain, or say operator domain, whatever. We will innovation together to find some new case. Sure, we have some good start case, maybe some automation or whatever is good start, but it's totally not enough. So I think that's the main thing why we get here. We want to hear about voice, about some innovation. We should innovation together to use the AI technology to make our success, make our service successful. This is my idea.
Okay.
I think from an analyst perspective, what we hear in the market and from the operators, there are two sides to it. One is on the service innovation side, and the other is on the operational improvement side, like you mentioned. If we talk about the service innovation, then if telcos are rolling out 5G standalone, then what new services can they introduce? How can they monetize them better? And that, from that perspective, some of the telcos, for instance, are offering, enhancements to the existing services. For example, voice services. If you can add a layer of fraud detection to those services, and there's an element of AI/ML involved in that. And likewise, if you go on the operational side, you look at both network and you look at customer experience and automation or optimization. I think network optimization is one of the cases which is being discussed a lot.
Right. And I want to add that the telcos and I mentioned Verizon has a product called AI Connect, which is specifically targeted at customers that have AI workloads and have. Although one of the things I said when I talked to the team is that it's not just AI workloads, it's just workloads with giant amounts of data.
I was going to say,
distributed.
What's the definition of an AI workload
Yeah,
in this
well,
case?
The answer is, if you just sell it as an AI workload thing, we will not sell very much because the enterprise is not doing much AI right now. Much less than by the hype you would think everybody's doing it. That's not really true. There are definitely enterprises that are doing it, but they're not doing it as much as you would think.
Yeah.
So one of the messages I said to the marketing team is AI Connect is really about giant amounts of data that's distributed across cloud providers, private data centers, out to the edge, and need to be moved around to do vast analytics or AI or a lot of processing to these vast amounts of data, and that's the key. And so it's not just AI workloads.
What do you see in terms of how you would define the kinds of an AI workload, the characteristics of it? Do you agree with Beth that it's large data sets distributed?
Yes, sure. I agree with maybe for now the AI workload are not work that's good. Maybe only some automation. But actually, I'm from Huawei. I'm the pro vendor. I'm the vendor for the operator. So my thinking more about this, not just to help the customer or help the end customer to save money. Just one part. More important thing is that we need to boasting about the service, to use AI to serve for all the people, and to give them more benefit, more good experience, so we can get more good business from the operator, from vendor. So I think that's the key.
So you mentioned all of you actually talked about the AI coming in from the service delivery side, from kind of the improving the operations of the networks and the services. Can you give me some examples of where you've seen AI actually help improve the service? What are some examples where it's being used for that?
Yes. Actually, we have some experience because for our telco domain, we have our only data, only operation and maintain data. Also, we have our only carriers. Right? It's totally different than the IT. There's totally different. So this how AI works. They need some big data. They need some their carriers, separate carriers. So that's the base. We have the professional data and professional carriers as our telco domain. This is the first thing. So we have this data. We can training or or influence the data and the carriers together. That's to make a professional mode for AI. That is the professional mode, not the normal about the big mode. Professional mode for AI that can work more good for our network. This is our experience. I think it's very important. Not that's different than the big mode.
So Verizon is definitely using AI in its operations, and in a number of different ways. One of them is it's using for user experience, so chatbots, those types of things. So those use the LLMs, of course. But a lot of on the operations side and like in the network side, it's not LLMs, it's mostly machine learning, which I know AI and machine learning kind of get matched together. And they are quite different. So, and we're using it heavily for, ticket correlation, fault identification, and those types of operational things that are highly automated today, and the ML and the AI can take it to the next level of automation. So that's, for example, we did this about a year or two ago, where we standing up a circuit was taking like 4 days, and it had like a couple hundred steps, and there was a bunch of senior engineers involved. And we went through and we got it down to like 10 minutes.
Wow.
By just automating, basically just automating everything and using machine learning for checks and balances. And something like, I think the last number I saw was like 89% of the circuits now are stood up automatically, and then there's some fallout, and then an engineer looks at the rest of them. So,
wow.
So obviously operational improvement is a big part of how it's getting used.
I think from the optimization point of view, a couple of use cases that are being discussed are around how you manage resources on demand, and perhaps matching the resource allocation to your traffic patterns, and not just the known traffic patterns, but sometimes unpredictable traffic patterns. So maybe the known traffic pattern, people can still use rule-based kind of automations to do that, but then there are sometimes predictions or forecasts on traffic which you can't totally rely or do based on historic calculations. So on those cases, maybe AI or LLMs are becoming more useful.
Well, I wouldn't say they're LLMs. They're really actually a subset. They're SLMs.
Yeah.
SLMs. So they're private, and they're subsets of that's to a specific domain.
Yeah, this is a really good point, because this is something that I think right now in the world at large, a lot of times people think of AI equals chat GPT at the simplest level. And the machine learning and deep learning have been around for a while, and have also continued to advance at the same, at a similar rate to LLMs, and we're seeing a lot of that put into practice now. We talked with a company recently that trains 20,000 models a month, and most of them are very specific models for the kinds of things that you're talking about, like analyzing a specific type of scenario that they're getting a lot of real world data on a constant basis. So they're retraining and redeploying, retraining and redeploying. So yeah, I think that's a very good point to make, that when we're talking about the ways that we can implement this, there's a variety of techniques that go beyond ChatGPT.
Right. Well, networks are very fluid too, right? Mm-hmm. So as you said, there's known events like a football game. Obviously, that 30,000 people are going to be convening in one location, and they're all going to be using their phones to take pictures. So that's kind of a known type of phenomena. But there's other phenomena where there's traffic patterns that change suddenly that we can't predict. So that's where these models can really help.
Yeah. Before I ask my next question, are there any questions from the audience? Anyone have anything you want to? Okay, I'll ask the question, then you can think about it if you come up with something. So one of the things that I wanted to loop back on a little bit was you defined AI workloads earlier, large, very, very large data sets distributed. That's where we are now. How do you think it's going to change as we get more more connected devices that are interacting more autonomously? What do you think we're going to see over the next, call it 5 to 10 years, where I think in the US we've just started having drone delivery services that have gone into production. Obviously self-driving cars are a big on a big upswing, and I think we're just going to see more and more of this type of environment where the world is moving around us autonomously, and the networks are really going to be key to that. What's going to change in the networks during that?
For my part, because I'm at the tech cloud domain, for the service, maybe they are diversity, as you say, so much type of diversity. Our idea is to get omitted about the future omitted structure. So there have some changes. For the hardware, sure, it's very easy. We need to edit the GPU and NPU. It's very easy to understand. And for our infrastructure layer, before we have OpenStack, for automation, Kubernetes for containers, and we think we need to enhance about the technology to more good fit about the GPU's workload. So maybe they can unify the scaling, unify the sharing, or unify the management. So our idea is that for platform layer, they need a unified platform for all the workload, such as CPU, memory, storage, and AI. This is our idea. So we need a unified infrastructure to meet with the different type of service. So do not need to reconstruct everything, right? That's my idea. Second idea is to more fit about the AI service. We need another layer about maybe it's have its official name. Maybe it's an AI-enabled platform. Like this thing. With this platform, first we need to very easily to involve about the industry's popular big model, right? Like the ChatGPT, about DeepSeek, whatever, very easily. And another thing more important for our domain, we need to customize. Essentially, we're going to customize about our only professional mode. So with this layer, we can introduce about industry very good model, and also we can have our professional specific model, so that can more good service for the future service. Because the service is not it's uncertain, right? It's not a certain answer. So also, our idea is have a unified infrastructure and also have a very open and flexible platform to meet with any type of service. This is our idea.
So I want to build on that because, and based on the white paper I just wrote, AI workloads need to leave the data center. They need to, at least to a certain extent, get out to the edge. So the drone delivery, the car, IoT devices. I mean, the car, a self-driving car is big enough so it can have like a full GPU unit on it. IoT devices can't. So you really need to think about, how you're going to do at least some of those AI workloads and inferences locally to reduce latency. And the example I'll use is robotic surgery. They are now using it for, they're incorporating AI into robotic surgery. You can't afford to have any latency at all. The GPU and the inference engine has to be local, because you can't be waiting for it to come from the cloud. Let's stop and we'll wait. So I think that's really the future, because that is where the data is. It's out at the edge, out at those devices, in the cell phones. It's out in the IoT devices. It's all over the place, and to make it work, you want that feedback loop, and it has to be immediate. And particularly like a surgical example would be, it has to be really immediate. Car, driving down the road, has to be immediate. So there's others that can wait, but you have to think about how fat that pipe network pipe really is, particularly to IoT devices, it's not going to be very big.
Right. Yeah.
So I think just to summarize, it's a triage between your bandwidth, your latency, and your compute. How these three
Yep.
things should play around, and which makes the most optimal sense to, where you want to increase. Do you want to increase the bandwidth, or is it more optimal to increase the compute and place the compute either on the device or on the edge? So
It's all by use case.
it will all depend by use case.
So when designing these things, you really have to think about, well, where is the data actually? What kind of data is it? How much processing is required? And how fast does the data need to be used? You really have to think hard about these for the architecture to work.
Okay. Second opportunity. Anyone has a question here?
I have a question. Actually, I'm interested in the use case. So, do we see a use case that AI can be used by every or most of the end user in a phone call or a message or things like that, that can benefit both the vendors and operators? Yeah.
Sure. I mean, you talked about the call filtering.
I think that's one use case, but in that example, I think the server is deployed next to your IMS because the traffic is transferring between the two. But then there's another use case I can recall, LGU Plus, which was deployed, and it's a small app which they deploy on the smartphone, and the inference is local. I mean, the small model is running locally on device. So I guess if the device is ready, then that could happen
You mean
as well.
postulating reasoning like that?
No, sorry, didn't get you.
Postulate reasoning or inference?
Oh, inference and post-rest.
Okay.
Yeah. I think security is also one that would definitely benefit from being local.
Yes.
Yes.
I have an infrastructure questions. Are the telcos deploying some kind of AI inference or maybe training, I don't know, at the pylons, the 4G, 5G, the wireless pylon?
Do you have
Is there a use case on the pylons?
Do you have in your towers and at the radio edge? Is there local inference?
Today, not that I know of, but I think in the future we're certainly thinking about that. I mean, certainly for network slicing, dynamic slicing, we're going to need it.
Can you explain what
Dynamic slicing is? Okay, for the non-telco heads in the room. So the big thing in which 5G sort of brought and 6G promises to bring is the ability to slice up the network, the wireless network, into dedicated pieces. Now, if you're thinking, that's been done on the wireline side forever, you're right. LANs, VLANs, that's what they are. But it hasn't been able to be done on the wireless side up until 5G. The standards still aren't set, but we have static slicing today. It's used for priority slices to like fire and police and those types of first responders. But the future is dynamic slicing, which means changeable slicing based on user and use case, on the fly, similar to sort of the way SD-WAN works. And that is going to be baked into 6G. So that will definitely require AI.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, I have one final question for y'all, which is, now that we've spent this time talking about AI, what is one thing in the telco world that you think where AI will not have an impact? Where will it not change? Where will humans not be replaced? Anything. Just I'm curious where you think it's actually not going to drive a big change.
That's a good question. Well, I think hands-on. I mean, you still need somebody to climb a telephone pole.
Still have to roll trucks.
Still have to roll trucks. Yeah, we're not going to get away from that. And building hardware is, still somebody's got to do that. I mean, it is a factory, but still.
Yeah.
Yes, actually that's why we have this panel. I think we just, actually for AI, I have said from technical part, from service part, it's maybe we have some good start with some case slicing about the operation, whatever, but actually it's totally not enough, as just mentioned. For telco domain, it's a very big domain, serve every people's communication. So I think we should find some real use case and help our end user. This is always my idea. So we need this panel actually to innovation about everyone's, maybe the vendor operators, some of the consulting company, whatever, or some other guys, technical guys. We need to woke up about everyone to check about the user case. I think that is a may challenge or say may another thing we need to do in the future. So for now, we have a very good start. Maybe from this start, from the slicing, from the whatever automation like this, or some end user experience like you see for like this thing. So maybe two ways. First, we need to focus on technical. We need to follow up with the technicals, some new technicals here, some fresh hairs, and evolving. Another thing more important, we need to more about to research about more use case for our telco.
I think just to resonate what Beth mentioned, you will always need someone to dig up the ground and draw the fiber. So that's an area where you might not see AI impacting much. But otherwise, I guess, other than that, every area is expected to be impacted. It depends on, what we are talking about, what sort of AI, generative AI, or agentic AI, or, predictive or basic rule-based kind of automation. So depends on what you're talking and how much it would impact. If we are talking about agentic, I think that thing is still, I don't think that's, the jury is out yet. So, but other than that, yeah, some way or the other, there will be.
Okay, so we'll still need geeks and nerds, and it's good news. Well, thank you very much for joining the panel, and appreciated hearing all of your thoughts.